I think on that cut, that's a little bit that thing I was talking about earlier, that contrast, right? Miles plays the slow tempo, beautiful lyrical opening, and then when Coltrane solo, the band kicks it up a notch, kind of pulling into Coltrane's space where he does that beautiful blend of the lyricism, the melodic playing, but also the fast runs and things like that.
Yeah, so that's the classic. That's like doing it. They call it doing double up, which means playing 16th notes against the beat. And you'll hear every once in a while Philly Joe will employ the double time with his hi hat, but not make it actually double time. And the bass ends up kind of feeling like it's in two, even though the bass is still playing in four, but it starts to feel like it's playing in two because of the implied double time and they call that double up when you start playing 16th notes. So that was the arrangement that Miles used in Round Midnight for the duration that he played Round Midnight, which is that he would play extemporaneously one chorus as the quote unquote the melody, but Miles kind of does his own thing with the melody, doesn't really play the melody the way Monk would play the melody. He plays much more extemporaneous and kind of turns it into his quote unquote solo. But that's the melody. And then Coltrane takes a single chorus as a solo and does some more double ups and more rhythmically interesting things. It's so lyrical, huh? With those appoggiaturas, those the octave slurs and everything, and that
Yeah,
glassy tone, beautiful, right?
yeah, and it's
And
that ability to. I mean, I think this is for me the ability and the greatest of the jazz masters is being able to blend those scales and that complex harmony, but also be finding the lyricism, the melodic qualities simultaneously. And and my favorite musicians, the greatest ones, they all have that ability.
yeah, right. And so it's Bird's vocabulary taking and it's starting to peek out the next thing with it. And Coltrane's got this amazing ability to play the vocabulary, but it sounds fresh every time. See, Coltrane is a
Yeah.
constant seeker and a constant experimenter. He was always very open. He wasn't shocked by Ornette at all. He thought Ornette was great. He thought this was like obvious that it should go this way, and spent a lot of time with Ornette. What are you doing? How does this work? He was a great American experimenter, like the Wright brothers or something, right? And Coltrane's doing it with music. A very open-minded guy,
Hmm.
and maybe too much so for people by the end of it. But I think this Columbia performance is a good one because you see that they started recording that in '55, and then they do a session in June 5th, '56, and then they do the last session for Columbia for this one record in October '56. Now, since when do jazz albums take three sessions over a year's time to make?
Right.
That's like that they didn't do it like that back then. So Columbia is clearly trying to do something big for Miles, and it worked.
And a high quality, yeah, and also the high quality of the recording. I mean, it's beautifully recorded.
Correct.
You
Yeah,
hear
I
the
have
bass is
outtakes.
full, and
Yeah, I have outtakes of these sessions, and you hear stuff that they're experimenting with a echo room, so they pump all the music into a separate room with echo in it, and like the cymbals make all this funny sounds and stuff.
mm,
So Columbia was experimenting with some different recording
mm,
ideas.
mm. So that kind of ends our little trilogy of kind of the Miles Davis quintet albums. And now our next cue is a date with Sonny Rollins. So
So this is a classic. This is a funny story of lore in Coltrane's thing. So Coltrane is starting to have some success in the studio, so to speak, and him being a chronic practicer, and this guy lives and breathes music and practicing saxophone, and this is what he does. So he was starting to just be around at the sessions. If you need somebody, here he is, And so Sonny Rollins was recording a Sonny Rollins record, a Prestige date, and Coltrane was asleep in his car, like during the day, out sleeping in his car outside the studio. And so Sonny Rollins, being, they're equally fans of one another and very good friends, and, both of them not yet famous, by the way. They're still underground kind of guys. And so Sonny Rollins sees the train sleeping outside, so he brings him in to play on a tune on his record. And so they do the old Bud Powell song called Rue Chaptal. Maybe Kenny Clark wrote it, apparently. And it got called Tenor Madness because there's two tenor players pretty much going to play the bebop language of 56 tenor saxophone is going to be in this one song. It's going to go down right now. Train and Sonny Rollins outdoing each other for the tour de force on Kenny Clark's Rue Chaptal.